Trawling through the court reports of the 19th century can be both intriguing and depressing. You come upon all manner of stories that show humankind at its best, worst, and most eccentric. I recently found a little story which appeared in the True Sun on Tuesday the 30th of August 1836, which, I must confess, did make me smile. As I read the account of the court appearance of Dr. Arthur Balany at Marlborough Street Police Court, I began to wonder if the author of the piece might have been Charles Dickens. Dickens had worked for the True Sun very early on in his journalistic career, having been a parliamentary reporter for the newspaper in 1832. By August 1836 he was busy writing Pickwick Papers, albeit he was still working on journalistic pieces, and the article certainly has decidedly Dickensian overtones about it. Indeed, the way in which the piece is written and the character of the doctor could almost have been lifted straight from the pages of Pickwick Papers. Whether it was written by Dickens or not, the article certainly makes a refreshing read, and you can't help but wish yourself into that long-ago courtroom to witness the exchange between Dr. Balany and the unimpressed magistrate. The article read, "Dr. Arthur Balany, a dirty little fellow with a wry neck, and more famed for an acquaintance with the joys of Bacchus than his knowledge of the mysteries of Aesculapius, was placed at the bar, charged with being drunk and incapable of taking care of himself." The doctor's cranium appeared exceedingly swollen, and more gouts of blood were visible on his forehead than ever was seen on Macbeth's air-drawn dagger. The worshipper of medical science did not wait to be interrogated by the magistrate, but at once poured forth his unpremeditated exculpation.
"Please, your worship," he commenced, "here I am again, cruelly treated. Like Samson have I been bound with ropes, but unlike him I have been retained in bondage. My clothes have been stripped from my back, and the apparel which now covers my members is shameful to behold." One could scarcely suppose that it had ever seen the light of other days. 25 suits of clothes and 4 great coats have I mounted since the king's coronation, and not one article has endured its natural time. They say I was drunk, but please your worship, that cannot be, for I can drink a bottle of Irish whisky, and afterwards stand as steady as a judge, on one leg. Besides, I always take an antidote. It was the custom of Mithridates, king of Pontus, and I am not above adopting a useful practice. Take one of these balls," taking a large white one from a piece of brown paper, "and dissolve it in a pint of rum. Drink the solution, and my word for it, your character for sobriety will not suffer at the end of the evening."
"I have not time," said the magistrate, "to attend to all your nostrums."
"Nostrum? Nostrum?" repeated the man of art. "That's a mistake. It is a composition of immense value, of which pure, unadulterated nitre forms the chief part."
"But you were drunk, doctor, and must pay a fine of 5 shillings.
"'Pon my veracity, your worship, if you were to kick me from Dublin to Ballybriggan, you could not knock 5 shillings out of me."
The magistrate did not seem inclined to try the experiment, and the learned doctor was locked up. And thus Dr. Arthur Balany staggered off back into obscurity. I can't help wondering what became of him, and whether he treated the courts to repeat performances at future dates. I also can't help but wonder what it must have been like to have been one of his patients. I should imagine that they would not have enjoyed cures for their ailments, but I bet they were kept entertained during their consultations.